Welcome everyone to the live event project presentation. This is Andrew Kraus. The event I've been working on is called Jay-Z and Friends, live in Central Park. Sean Carter, otherwise known as Jay-Z, is an American rapper who grew up in Brooklyn, New York. Throughout his career, he has sold over 50 million records worldwide and has received 14 Grammy Awards. Aside from his music career, Jay-Z is also an entrepreneurial mastermind. He has had his hands in all types of businesses, including his own clothing line, his own chain of restaurants, co-ownership of an NBA franchise, and ownership of his own record label, Roc Nation. I chose Jay-Z because I'm a huge fan of his music, and I'm a huge fan of him as a businessman. I think he has made some very good business choices, and he continues to remain on top in the rap game, which is something to say for someone who's over 40 years old. I think he's a good choice for the DVD release of this concert because he puts on incredible concerts. I've seen him in a crowd of 80,000 people, and it was one of the greatest concerts I've ever seen. He's also a good choice because he can bring in those crowds, especially in Central Park, especially in his hometown. The venue I've chosen is Central Park in New York City, as I've said. Central Park is regarded as one of the world's most prestigious parks, and it's in one of the world's most prestigious cities, New York. Being that Jay-Z is from this area, I figured it was a no-brainer to make this concert at Central Park. Central Park has also been home to some of the greatest concerts of all time, and has packed in crowds of over 140,000 people for some. Here's a day of event schedule. 7 a.m. we're going to pick up Jay-Z from his Manhattan penthouse. He's going to be going over to Good Morning America, where he's going to be on air at 10 a.m. After that, we're going to go to brunch for about an hour and 15 minutes. He then has a signing at the Barclays Center, which is home to the Brooklyn Nets. After that signing, we're going to head to the venue where he's going to do sound check, and around 5:45 he'll head backstage until the show. The show has two opening acts. The first is Jay Electronica, the second is J. Cole. These are the first two artists that Jay-Z signed on his Roc Nation label, so it would also be a good chance for him to display his talent that he has within his label. 9 o'clock, Jay-Z takes the stage, exits about 10 minutes before midnight. With the crowds cheering for more, he'll come on for a midnight encore of 4 songs that will last anywhere between 12 and 15 minutes. To the right is a sample rider of an old Jay-Z show from 2009. On a rider, there could be anything from cans of Coca-Cola to sliced roasted chicken. Other things may include his transportation services. This one from 2009 included a Bentley, several SUVs, and several limos for his entourage, his bodyguards, and everyone who is in his camp. This particular rider has everything that is related to alcohol crossed out. That is because it was a university concert, and apparently it was violating some sort of university rules. But for this show, Jay-Z will obviously be allowed to have access to these types of things. The income for this show. As you can see, most of the income comes from the general admission concert tickets. We feel we could easily get 100,000 tickets sold, and at $70 a piece, that's $7 million. The DVD sales are estimated at bringing in $3 million, 50% of which has been negotiated that Jay-Z will take home, which is $1.5 million. The gross margin on this income is $9.275 million. As far as expenses, the major expense comes from the percentage of the tickets sold that goes to the Central Parks, and on top of the Central Parks flat rate, and this goes to the Central Park and the New York City Parks Program Department. You also see event insurance on there for $1 million. The reason that this would be so high is just simply to the large scale of the show and the great amount of money that is involved in putting on this show. There also you can see the luxury car rentals that tallied to $50,000 for the one day. Total expenses came out to just under $4 million. When you subtract the expenses from the income, the net profit for this project is $5,362,500. As with any show of this size, it is very important to perform some sort of risk analysis. I would imagine that if the show was actually going on, the risk analysis list would probably be closer to 50 or 60 items. For the reasons for this project, I have outlined 3. For example, one of the risks could be that it could rain and make for a less enjoyable experience for attendees. After the risks, it's important to look at the likelihood, the consequences, and the impact of the risk. As you can see here, I've laid out 3 risks. Their likelihoods range from low to medium, and their impacts range from medium to high. It is important to set this up because you can then prepare for these risks and you can have action plans for these risks. Conclusions. I've learned a lot during this project. Mostly I've learned that it's very hard to manage an event and an artist at the same time. It's kind of puts you in 2 different directions. You always want to make sure you're doing the best for your artist. You also want to be making sure you're doing the best for the event. So when those 2 things don't see eye to eye, it's hard to put all those things together. But basically the biggest thing I learned was just the large scale of these events and all the things that is involved and all the money that is involved. It's really crazy to see how much money could be made on an event like this, and I think it would be a great event. Here are the sources I used for this project and the photo sources I used for this project. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed it.